There are many factors that play a role in getting hired, getting accepted into schools, being accepted in society, and being able to own your own business. Race, gender, color, ethnicity, national origin, and sex are many of those factors, and why people are not hired for jobs, accepted into colleges, able to start their own businesses, or being able to fit in society. For example, let's just say that you go for a job and most of the people that work there are primarily of white skin. And say that you have darker skin. Most likely you won't be able to get that job. And the reason why is because of the color of your skin. And what I found very interesting is that this also applies to women. You know the saying, women, how can a woman do a man's job? Well, if anything, I think that's very false. I think that sometimes we can do it even better than men. Women to this day do not get equal pay and do not get the equal opportunities than men do. It's 2020, people, get with the program. This is the honest truth, and is something that does not only affect people around the world, but more specifically the colored minority and women. Some people around the world that can be affected are anywhere from doctors to students or to citizens. This could be happening in your neighborhood and you just don't know it. The hard truth is, even though I have not experienced this being of white skin, I've seen these things happen secondhand, in the workplace and in school. I feel for the people who have experienced this, which is why I want things to change. Which leads me into the prop I'll be talking about today, Prop 16, which is actually to repeal Prop 209. Prop 209 prohibited state governmental institutions from considering race, sex, or ethnicity in the areas of public employment, education, and contracting. And Prop 16 wants to do the opposite. For example, it could save small Black-owned or Latino-owned businesses who need it, especially during these times. Prop 16 will help our society, your own community, and even yourself, which is why you should have voted yes. It is something that allows more diversity in the workplace, school, and everyday life. It can take away the sense to belong, specifically in the workplace and in schools, which according to Karen Hall, who has a PhD, is a human need. Prop 16 is something that will help the reasons or factors why you cannot get hired, get accepted into college, or just to fit in go away, which will help a lot of people accept themselves or accept themselves as part of our society or community. So if you have voted yes, I would say you have done your small part in a big issue. Prop 16 is something that we need to have happen. It will help a lot of people and erase Prop 209. People need jobs and go to school to help them in the future or just to live in general. We gotta eat, right? But they cannot do those things if they are not hired or accepted in the first place because of their race, gender, color, ethnicity, national origin, and sex. Many people support this prop and have opinions on it, so let me just show you a few. For example, according to the New York Times article, Californians vote yes on Prop 16. Kamala Harris supports Prop 16 as well as top university officials. And Prop 16 has even raised more than $16 million. Yet it still continued to lag in polls with just 31% of Californians saying yes and 22% undecided. Hopefully you were part of that 31% or maybe even raised that 31% and voted yes on Prop 16. Another piece of evidence that really stuck out to me in this article was research reveals the far-reaching effects of Prop 209. Black and Latino enrollment in the California's university system has declined immediately. According to Zachary Bleemer, an economist at Berkeley, Prop 209 deterred more than 1,000 Black and Latino students from even applying to the University of California system each year. We are literally making students not want to apply to our colleges here in America because of the underlying issues that we still have, and they're not going to go away with a flick of a switch. Shirley Weber, a member of Shirley Weber, a member of the California State Assembly representing District 79, had presented the legislation Prop 16, which I found very interesting, and stated that the ongoing coronavirus or pandemic, as well as recent tragedies of police violence, is forcing the Californians to acknowledge the deep-seated inequality and far-reaching institutional failures that show that your race and gender still matter. This just goes to show how the issues of inequality, race, and gender, as well as discrimination, still have not gone away as hard as we try to say it has been fixed. The reality is that we have not improved very much. So from that research alone, I hope that you had voted yes on Prop 16. There's an ideal world that we all live in, and very different versions of them, but the reality is that the past is the past. But that does not mean that we can't change the future. Many people have lost their jobs or businesses or have not enrolled in college because they are owned by a minority or are part of the minority. For example, according to the LA Times, 25 years ago, Gene Hale, president of a Gardena construction company, was selling more than $8 million a year in cranes, forklifts, and concrete to help build freeways from San Diego to Sacramento. But in 1996, when California approved Prop 209, outlawing affirmative action for Black-owned companies, his revenue basically went down to zero. An initiative on the November ballot, Proposition 16, would repeal the 1996 measure. This is just one of the many prime examples why Prop 16 will help the society as a whole, and more specifically, small businesses or minority-owned businesses, especially in this time of need. In an ideal world, our feeling to belong would be non-existent, and we would all be considered equal and get equal opportunities like those of white backgrounds. But in the real world, that's not how it works. But if you vote yes on Prop 16, you can change that. I've said it before, and I'll keep on saying it. You should have voted yes on Prop 16. Voting yes gives a more diverse and gender fluidity environment in society, schools, and the workplace, as well as can help save minority and small-owned businesses that are struggling, especially during this pandemic. If this can help you, why not help other people? Break those stereotypes and do not let people be judged for who they are, because it is not something that they can change. I hope that you have voted yes on Prop 16 because you are helping a lot of people be accepted for who they are, and people are struggling during these tough times. So, if anything, do your part.